Hi, I'm Dr. Divina Lopez, a board certified pediatrician with over 10 years of experience in pediatrics, and you are listening to Dancing into Parenthood.
Hi, this is Dr. Divina Lopez again, and thank you for listening to this podcast. I have a nice surprise for you today. I have a father who's joining me on the podcast. His name is Randy Vasquez, aka fitdadworks. He is the director of talent management at Carrier Corp, where he wears multiple hats and leads several talent practices within succession, diversity, and engagement. Although Randy has 13 years of developing talent at Fortune 500 organizations, his alter ego, Fit That Works, is a fitness enthusiast who has a soft spot for occasional cheat meals. Randy's core focus on Instagram is to influence dads, new or seasoned, to stay fit, define, and take control of their career and success, all while promoting quality time with family, even if it means finding a fitness center that has a baby gym section so you can bring the kiddos with you. As a husband and father, he is passionate about building an empire with his family and expounding on the multifaceted love for his biggest role model, his wife. He is a firm advocate for keeping his family active through exercise, healthy eating habits, and baby yoga. He genuinely wants to help others and champions for children to create their own paths with organizations like the NJ Bar Youth Association and Boys and Girls Boy Club of America. So I just want to give you a little bit of a story of how I met Randy. Randy and his wife Mary had come to the practice that I was working at when they were interviewing pediatricians. And when I first met them, I really thought like, wow, this couple is just like the best looking couple I've ever seen. They're both just aesthetically looking perfect all the time. And they were just super cool, very, very educated. So not only did they look good, but they had great questions. They knew what they were looking for in a pediatrician. And to be honest with you, I wanted to impress them because I wanted to be their pediatrician. But they weren't even coming into the office to speak to me. I think they were coming in to like speak to my boss. But I was really blown away by them. And I was so happy when they had their first daughter that they did choose to bring her to me because number one, I'm really happy that I developed a great relationship with them, and it was great to just see Randy come in with his daughter, even all by himself, and how he was so comfortable with it. I was super impressed. He has a really great wife, and I mean, she's intense, but Randy was like totally on board with it all, and I was like, good for him. So I was so happy when he accepted the invitation to come and talk to the other dads because I think he's a great role model as a father. And really I wanted him to talk to dads because I think, it's fine to hear about fatherhood from me, but men don't want to hear it from a woman. They want to hear it from a man. So, Randy, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast and
Yeah,
speaking to the fathers.
absolutely. Thank you for having me. This is pretty cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's super
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah.
So I wanted to just like dive right in.
Let's do it.
And, I want to know what were your expectations of fatherhood before you even had your little girl?
Oh, where do I start? I had so many different expectations. I thought that it was, first it was going to be easy. I thought that it was going to be fun. I thought it was going to be cool. I was looking for matching sneakers that I
Yeah,
can put on my daughter, because you see all those pictures and people and how easy people make it seem, right? How
right.
cool it is. And especially when I knew that it was a girl, to kind of just see, daddy's little girl, and that's gonna be so
Mm-hmm.
cool, and it's gonna be so
Mm-hmm.
smooth, and she's gonna love me regardless, and she's never gonna come back me, or none of those things. So I I thought it was gonna be super smooth, super simple. My wife and I, you mentioned it. She is intense, but she is so good at doing different things and kind of figuring situations out that I thought, okay, well, I have a good partner. She's gonna
Right.
be able to figure it out with me, and we're gonna be able to work together at it.
Yes.
So my expectations were high. They were really high. I thought everything was gonna be pretty smooth, pretty
Smooth
cool.
sailing, right? You're like, I got
Exactly.
this.
Easy.
Yeah. So let's hear about like what did you do to prepare for your transition into fatherhood?
So different things. First I took a lot of time to kind of try to listen to different people. And when I say listen, is truly listen and try to pick up the cues. And I spoke to other men first, kind of took their perspective. My father, my brother, who's an excellent father as well, my cousin, just people that I saw, and I was like, I want to be like that person one day. I want to be kind of that similar father. I want to have that relationship. So I took a lot of personal kind of advice from people. I also made sure that I took advice from people at work, other men at work, in terms of, how do I manage my career? Like, what are the things that I need to do? How do I come into work? How do I travel? I do quite a bit of traveling for work. And what does that look like? And what are the little tips that you do there? So I took some advice from people as well, and kind of try to put it all together. And when I say listen, I think what I'm noticing now is the real things that I got from them was a lot of the things that they're not deliberately mentioning, right? So like just little things that they did while they were talking, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can see how that makes sense. Okay, got it. And now that I'm in it, I'm like, okay, I know
now
why
you
they were
really
saying
get
that.
it, right?
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of that, and I also did a lot of reading. I read a book. I scanned through a couple others. Don't tell my wife. But I did some reading. I read some articles. I followed some blogs. I thought, let me listen to some experts in the field of what they're talking about, what to expect.
Right.
Those kinds of things. I took a little bit of time and, interviewing pediatricians,
right.
Stuff like that. My wife really took the lead on a lot of those things, but I was there kind of just trying to figure out what did she miss so I can kind of throw it in, or really what I was concerned about to make sure that I'm getting that answer as well.
Right, right. So compared to your expectations, what are the realities of fatherhood?
The realities are that it's really real. That's the reality. It's difficult. It takes you by surprise. Like the level of, I would say, intensity that it has. I guess that's the right word to use there. Is overwhelming sometimes, to be very, very frank. It's difficult, it's hard, it's a lot, it's stressful. I can continue to use words in terms of how it is. So whenever you hear somebody say that it's hard, it's really hard. But I also think that even still, something that I tell people all the time is that, there's 7 billion people in the world. I mean, I tell that to my wife all the time, like, honey, there's 7 billion people in this world. Other people figure it out. We can figure it out. Right. So,
right.
It's happening for a reason, and people keep having kids for a reason. It's really rewarding. It's really cool. It's really, it's all the opposite of what I said is hard. It's easy at the same time. So it's a mixed bag. But it's definitely, and I will say this over and over and over, it's the reality of it is that it's a real thing.
You're right. And the thing is that I think part of the reason of why it is difficult, including like motherhood, is because it's 24/7. Like you just can't get away from it. You can't be like, oh, I need a timeout today. Like today is not the day, guys. I just need a little extra time for me. And, and so you can't get away from it. When you're at work, you can leave your job. When you're tired, you can go take a nap when you don't have kids. You can do all these things. But when the kids are around, and you're actually living with other human beings. You don't know what their personalities are going to be
Yeah.
like. You don't know what it's going to be like when they're
Yeah.
sick and how dependent they really are on
Mhm.
you. And so it's that whole thing of like, you can't really escape this, right? Like,
No,
you're
you
in it,
can't. Yeah.
and you have to be in it like 100%.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the reason why parents find it difficult,
Yeah.
right? Because we
Absolutely.
all wish that we could sometimes have that little like fantasy of like, let me get away for the weekend.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and not everybody has that, right? Not everybody has that. Like, you if you have that, great.
Mhm.
And I think more parents need to find that time
Yeah.
to be away from them, because just like you said, it really is a difficult job. And I mean, this is this for me was more difficult than residency. Like
Really. Yeah.
residency, you're on call, you're
Right.
like dealing with emergencies, you're
Right.
literally
Right.
doing CPR, like,
Yeah. You're saving
but
lives. Yeah.
yeah, like you're really saving lives. But I found motherhood to be even more difficult than
Yes. Yes.
residency. And people are like, no way. And I'm like, yes, believe me, it
Mhm.
really is more challenging.
Yeah.
Like, medical school was a piece of cake compared to becoming a mom, because it,
Yeah.
it really is a full-time 100%, 1,000% of you, right?
Yeah.
And they're people you love, and so you always want to make sure you're doing the right thing for them. So that's the other like stressful part about it.
Yeah. And it's 1,000% of you, 1,000% of the time, right?
Yeah.
It's like you said, it's really nonstop. I mean, I have friends that there's a particular friend who he doesn't have kids, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he'll text me at 8:30, 9 o'clock, like, "Hey, are the girls up?" I'm like, "Yeah, at 6:30." Oh,
Right.
every day at
Yeah,
6:30. Doesn't matter if it's Saturday, Sunday, a holiday. They don't care. They're up at 6:30 in the morning every morning, and
I
there's no
know.
stopping that, right? So sleeping in is not even a thing anymore. So I totally see, hear you on that, and I also second what you said, and I truly believe that in terms of finding, that weekend or a time away from it, because you really need it. I was on a conference call today at work, and excuse me, one of my coworkers, she was like, "Yeah, I won't be in next week. I'm finally going away with my husband. It's the first time in 6 years since we had our kid." And I was like, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
That's the reality of when things do happen. I mean, it's really a thing that you just can't get away, right? So
Right.
I totally agree with you and second that.
Yeah. So how has fatherhood changed you as a person?
Oh, it's changed me completely. I'm a totally different person, but for the better. I'm more patient. I'm definitely more aware of situations. It's so crazy, and I guess it's the father instinct in you, right? To kind of just develop that. It's if I'm out somewhere, I'm constantly like looking and seeing, okay, what's the situation here, right? When we go to
Because you're
restaurants,
protective of them.
and it's like a thing that just kind of happens. I mean, it really does. It's not intentional. I mean, when we go to restaurants, I sit at the chair that's facing the door so that I
Right.
can I don't know, and it's so crazy, and you don't I'm not about that whole like, oh, I'm the man and I need to. It's just kind of just instinct to
Right.
feel like I need to protect them at all times.
Mm-hmm.
So it's changed me from that perspective of being more aware. The patience piece, the relationship with my wife, that's really changed as well. And it changed me. I have a fond appreciation for her, and appreciate the things that she does, and how she's carries our family and things like that. Appreciation for my mom and my dad. I kind of
Mm-hmm.
those times where I'm like, oh my God, this is difficult, and then I call my mom and I'm venting, and she just laughs, and I'm like, now I know why you're laughing, because I was probably that difficult. And you
Right.
just appreciate the things that they did, as well. And then the other part that I notice, is I'm just more productive. Like, you find ways to be uh, quicker, more efficient, faster, how to
Mm-hmm.
maximize your time, right?
The
Because
whole
like
balance, right?
the whole balance of it, right? How do you figure out how to still get a gym workout, right? Just so that that's what you want to do. How do you figure out how to still have a glass of wine or have a drink with your friends? And how do you figure out how to get to work and still be successful in your career and still dedicate that time? So the productivity and efficiency is just through the roof in terms of what skill you learn. So it's changed me a lot. All positive things for the better.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I think it's really interesting hearing everything that you're saying, because now I'm thinking in my head, fatherhood and motherhood really are so similar. It's just that I don't hear it that much from dads, but it's really, really similar. Like for me, my son has taught me so much about patience. I'm a person that all my life I've been running from one thing to the next because I'm so competitive. Like I want to be the first one getting stuff done. I want to be on top of it all. I want to know what's going on. Like I've always been like that. And my son constantly tells me, Mom, you need to slow down.
Yeah.
Mommy, why do you always feel like you need to like be running on to the next thing? And he tells me, he's only 6 years old, and when he started like telling me that, it really made me like start thinking like, oh my goodness, because I used to rush him all the time. I would be like, come on, buddy, like we need to hurry up, we need to go do this, hurry up, we need to go do that. And my son is so into whatever he's doing, he's so present in everything that he does, that he wouldn't even allow me to rush him. It was just like, no, you have to wait until
right.
thing, and then we can move on to the next thing. And I would be like, no, like hurry up, let's go. We got, especially in the mornings. Like the mornings are crazy. And I'm trying to get him to school. He just always tells me, Mommy, you need to slow down. You really need to slow down. And it's because of him that I started paying attention to certain things in my life, like even just the sun and the trees, because he's all about nature. And he really has this perspective on life that I just didn't have, and he made me appreciate just like all the simple things that that we have in this life. And I really didn't notice them because I was always rushing to get to work. I'm rushing to do this, I'm rushing to do the next thing. And like I'm really grateful that he's taught me that. And for me, like I've become a whole completely different new woman because of my son. Like I really feel like that. But I
really
think
they
children
really
just change you profoundly. In a really good way. In a really, really good way. And they make you look at your life, and they really prioritize stuff for you. Like all your priorities just like totally change once a baby comes into the picture.
They really do. And my daughter now, she's 4, the oldest, and she is talking a lot, right? Like it's real conversations with her now. And she's in that phase where she asks a lot of why. Everything is why, and that really also has an effect on me, right? Because I'm kind of like, I'm like, baby, I have to go to work, and she's like, why? And I'm like, you're right, why? Like just like little things like that, like she really draws that out and makes you really think about, okay, well, why am I doing this? And then I think you said it right. I mean, the fond appreciation to things, right? Like my daughters don't care where we live. They don't care. Like they don't care where we live. They don't care where we go on vacation, what car we drive. They don't care about anything. I mean, they literally just care that they're having fun and they can just play with, and they can play with rocks. They don't care about toys. Like they could just any situation they're in, they'll find something to do, and they'll be so happy. And if you pay attention to that really changes your perspective on life as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all about like us making these like, we put the focus on the wrong things. We really do. Like as adults, we think like, having the most beautiful house is important. And just like you said, they really don't care. They just want to be with you. They want to spend time with you. They don't even care if you just have a 1-bedroom little apartment. They would be probably happier in that situation because they're like right next to you. So it's definitely true. Like they teach you so much about what's really important in life. And that for me, that's one of the best things of being a mother. I love that part.
Likewise, you see it. Fatherhood and motherhood are not so different.
No, they're really, really similar. So what would be your advice to new dads?
Oh, that's a good question. There's so much that I would say. First, I would say get some sleep. Uh,
That's the
get
most
some sleep
important
before
part.
you have it. Like add it up, put it in the bank of like the hours of sleep. Listen to your wife. No, that's another good advice. No, honestly, I would say follow your heart, right? And I know that sounds cliche, right? But it's true in terms of, you have this picture of what you're going to be as a dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking that it's going to be a certain type of way. You think you're going to have a certain type of relationship,
Yeah.
and that's good or bad. Whether it's, if you had a bad relationship with your dad, maybe you're thinking, okay, well, I'm going to be different, or I'm going to do X,
Right.
Y, and Z. Or even if you're like, I had a great dad and I'm going to be like him, you have
Mm-hmm.
all these expectations of who you're going to be. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, I think you just have to be who you are with your kid and allow that relationship to build. I have two daughters, and my relationship with both of them is different. Love them equally, but
Yeah.
it's just what it's grown to, right? And I've allowed that. It's kind
Mm-hmm.
of, one I'm more rough with and I play with, and
Yeah.
she's about cars, and the other one is sweeter and nicer,
Right.
and she wants more hugs. So it's
Right.
it's about really following what relationship you're building,
Mm-hmm.
and enjoying the moment, right? I think you have to really enjoy everything. And I think, a lot of people say, oh, enjoy it because it goes fast. And that's
It
really true.
does.
It does
Yeah.
really go fast. And I
Yeah.
would say, try to enjoy every moment, and you can look back at it right now. My daughters are still young, but even now I talk to my wife and I'm like, you remember when she was 6 months and we had no idea what we were doing, and that night and this, and look at it now. And you have those little memories that you cherish, and you kind of take on. So my whole thing is just follow your heart, and you'll know what's right when it's time, right? You'll know exactly what you need to do.
Yeah, because I truly believe that there is that instinct, like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, we're human beings, but we're animals.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and I think we're born with a certain instinct of knowing what to do. And
Mm-hmm.
so, people will give you advice, or you can look in books and read and listen to podcasts like this, but ultimately you usually know, like, in your heart what needs to be done or how
Yeah.
to do things correctly. I agree with you 100% about that. Like, follow your heart. That's so important. That I never
You
really said
have
it
to.
that way, but that it
Yeah.
really is something
And
that we have to listen to, that little intuition that we have, because it's never going to steer you in the wrong direction.
it's not, and it's very difficult because you have so many opinions, right? Everybody is telling you what to do, right?
Yeah.
You got your parents, your family members, friends, just
Yeah.
other people outside, right? Like if my daughter's crying and somebody looks at her, I know that they're judging, right? I know that they're saying something in their head. And doctors, right? We used to bring our daughter to you, and you would say things as well, and I'm like, okay, she's a professional, I get it, and let me take in that advice, but am I harming my daughter? Like, I'm also with her all the time. Like, am I
Yeah.
doing the right? I know I'm doing the right thing.
Right.
So it's
Right.
kind of following. No, 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 I'm doing the right thing. This is fine.
Right.
So you have to be able to listen to others, but also still, like you said, follow your heart and know you know what's right. You'll know what's right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So my last question for you is the juicy one.
Oh boy, oh boy.
So can you talk about how your relationship has changed with your partner after becoming a dad?
Oh, that's yeah. Is she gonna listen? Is she gonna listen to this? Can we block her out somehow? No.
Be
It's
honest, Randy. Be honest.
it's changed tremendously. It really has. It's gone through so many different phases.
Mm-hmm.
Since we've had a child. I mean, it went through so many phases when she was pregnant.
Yeah.
It's just been evolving and evolving, and it's a deeper understanding that we have now of each other.
Yeah.
I think I said it before, a deeper appreciation for each other
Mm-hmm.
in terms of what we do, right, and how we do that.
Yeah.
It's changed from, we went through a period, and I'll be very straightforward and transparent. We went through a period where we wanted to rip each other's heads off, right? Because
Yeah.
she wanted to do one thing, and I'm like, no, that's not the right thing. We would argue about things, she wanted me to do things the way that she does things when I change
Right.
a diaper, or when I carry the baby, or when I'm, burping the baby. No, you do it this way, and you didn't put enough lotion over here. And, like the little things, when you have that with the fact that you're sleep deprived, it can cause a lot of issues, right? It can cause a lot of issues and a lot of anger. But
No,
I
sleep
think
deprivation is terrible.
it's terrible. It's
Yeah.
terrible, and the cause that can have on your relationship as well.
Yeah.
But I think you start learning through that, and you start figuring out, okay, this person that I had this human with, right? I had this
Right.
other child with, that we made this decision, ultimately has the best intent
Right.
for this child, right? So
Yes.
she might do something different than me, but ultimately she's trying to do the best thing that she can. So I
Right.
have to appreciate that, right?
Right.
And appreciate her. So I think my relationship with her, it's funny now, because it's like we look at each other and just laugh, right? It's like,
Right.
oh, we got that. Or when it's funny when other people are like, oh, we're pregnant, and we just look like, oh my God, you're pregnant, and we just
Yeah.
laugh because we remember the time when we were pregnant, like all the things that happened. And we're like, oh, you have no idea what's in store for you. So it's just that kind of understanding, and I will say it's kind of a deeper bond now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a huge
It
bond. It's like
grows. Mm-hmm.
it grows tremendously, and it's not like, uh, when you're married, or when you have a girlfriend or whatever, significant other, you can just walk out, right, and just kind of say, okay, well, I'm out of here, bye. We start
Yeah,
working
yeah,
out.
yeah.
But when you
Yeah.
have children, it's like a bond, like it's outside of you. Like you
Yes.
can't just walk out. Like you have to think about, okay, well, what's the impact here? Okay, I
Yeah.
gotta work this out. I gotta figure this out. We gotta
Mm-hmm.
make this work. This is bigger than us. This is bigger than this stupid little argument. So
Yeah.
I think that you learn that, and you learn to appreciate that the person in your relationship does change.
I think I respect you even more, Randy. I really, really do, because I'm also transparent about my divorce. And I wish that more men understood that piece of, like, this is bigger than us, and so
Yeah.
let's do what we need to do to work it out.
Yeah.
My advice to women is that uh you gotta let dads do things their way,
Yeah.
because just like you said, like, as a mother, you want to say, like, oh, you know what you want to do for your child, and so you want other people to do things in the same way, and no one, not
Mhm.
one person, not even your own mother, is going to do it the way you do it, right? And
Right.
so, like, you can offer your advice to people, but don't get upset when people do things their own way.
Yeah.
And I think
Right.
that one of the things that us as moms need to do is respect dads for doing things in their own way, and
Yeah.
just kind of be okay with that part. You're
Mhm.
another
Yeah.
person, you might have another perspective. It is your child, so you're going to try to do the best thing always for your child. And so, moms, as much as we think we know everything when it comes to our kids, let
Yeah.
the dads do things their own way, and let them figure it out. And their child will teach you how to do it anyway. Like,
Yeah.
even if you think you're doing something correctly and your kid is not too happy about it, they're gonna step in and eventually let you know. Even if they're not speaking, they will
Yeah.
somehow just like, no way, this is not going to drive with me. And so,
Mhm.
let the dads figure it out.
Yeah.
It's tough sometimes, like, it's tough to see that part, but I think, when you respect one another and you just say, you know what, it's your turn, do what you got to do,
Yeah. Yeah.
that way you grow in this relationship together. I think that is so important, to allow this growth to happen, and to understand that there's going to be a lot of different stages and phases
Mhm.
in your relationship,
Yeah.
because like, kids come in to the picture, and it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
everything really, really changes. And so you have to have that good, strong foundation, that respect and that love for one another, in order for it to thrive.
Yeah.
But
And you have to, and I think you're right. I think you have to, you made me think about something when you were saying that, is you have to really allow the other person to be the figure that they want to be, right? And think about, they're trying to do the best that they possibly can. And if you have men, and again, be very, very open, you have men that are like, well, I'm the provider, I have to go work. if
Right.
that's what he's doing, then that's what he knows that he needs to do, right? So
Yeah.
you have to allow for that. And you can give feedback and say, hey, maybe you should do X, Y, and Z or this and that. But ultimately, if he has the best intent in his mind, he feels like he needs to provide. You
Right.
got to kind of open the door for that and say, okay,
Right.
well, at least he's trying to do something for us, for the baby. This is what he thinks is best. And likewise, right, for women, right, for men thinking about women, if you're
Yes.
overprotective and controlling or whatever it might be, you
Yeah.
have to, as a man, allow for that and say, this is what she knows is best, and this is the
Right.
best way she knows how she's doing it. So you got to be open to it.
Yeah, and you have to be open to having those real conversations with one another of like, this was really shitty today, or, how can we do this better? What can we learn from this? Because it's not okay that we did X, Y, and Z, So you have to be open to having excellent communication with one another, even when that means that you're talking about something really deep that you don't want to hear about, or something very challenging that we need to talk about this because we have to find a way to improve this. You have to be open to having those sort of conversations, because although you feel really vulnerable in those states, and so that makes it really tough and uncomfortable, that's what actually makes you grow as a couple and makes you grow closer to one another too. Because it's like, I got your back and you got mine, and you're my ride or die, and we're in this, so let's just make sure that we're figuring it out, because everybody's figuring it out. Nobody, I don't care who they are, nobody has all the answers to the questions, and there's no such thing. Even me as a professional, sometimes people come to me, they're like, whatever, I'm honest with people. I'll tell you when I don't know, and we'll find a solution together. But you have to understand that nobody knows all the answers. No one has that. So you have to figure it out together and figure out what's the best thing for the two of you and for your family. That mutual respect and love is so important, and the openness to have those really tough conversations sometimes with one another. But that's what's gonna keep that relationship going.
Yeah, you're right. Nobody's perfect. And there is no perfect time. You're gonna make mistakes, right? So
So I'm gonna end it there, Randy. This was totally amazing, and awesome. I know that so many dads will benefit from listening to you. I think, like I said, my respect for you has grown just talking to you, and I was really excited about doing this, and I am so happy that you took the time out of your day, because I know how busy you are, to do the podcast. But it was really fun. It was really a great podcast. I'm excited for the dads to hear it and to hear what they say about it.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on, and I didn't say it before, but thank you for that introduction. That was pretty awesome. You made me look like a superhero. I appreciate it. But no, thank you.
You're a super dad, Randy. You are.
Thanks. But no, thank you for having me on, and really, Divina, what you're doing, I think is excellent. You're not only an excellent doctor, but I appreciate what you're doing with trying to bring this message to people. So good luck.
Thank you.
And I hope that the journey continues well.
Okay, wonderful. But thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So I'm gonna end it there, and you can find Randy on Instagram at fitdadworks. Right? Where else can they find you, Randy?
You can find me there. You can find me on LinkedIn. Shoot me a message on LinkedIn. I'm always open for that as well. Randy Vasquez, and Instagram. Those are my two main pieces that I use.
All right. So now you know where to find Randy. And if you need to speak to me or you want to shoot me a comment, you can find me on my website is www.drdivinalopez.com. Thank you.
To listen to more podcasts, please visit us at drdivinalopez.com and follow us on Instagram at drdivinalopez. Thank you for listening. Please keep in mind that all advice given in this podcast is general information.
To understand your specific situation, you must consult with your pediatrician.